Hey everybody, it's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table on My Style Mondays. You guys, it is the beginning of travel season, and I am so ready for warm weather. I was just in Paris, it was cold and rainy, and I like going to the Caribbean this time of year. And I'm going to tell you, I'm here with Nicole Nixon. She's the CEO of Younique Travel Services. She specializes all things warm weather, Caribbean, breezy. Um, if you're ready for beaches and high end resorts, and she is the I've traveled with her. And let me tell you, when you want detail, she is the detail person. I even lost my wallet on my trip. She was taking care of putting out all kinds of fires. I was like, I lost my wallet. She goes, okay, I'm putting you in the rotation. I'm going to get this. And she took care of everything. I mean, true concierge service. It was wonderful. We had a wonderful vacation in Jamaica. We had so much fun. And that's what you need when you're traveling abroad. Vacation should be relaxing, and so should your full experience and the people who are handling your vacation. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Let's get started. Let's talk about some of the places that you prefer. Are there areas in the Caribbean that you would recommend first, or
So for somebody who's just starting out, I would recommend that you stay a little closer. Maybe do the Mexico. Los Cabos is beautiful, totally different from Cancun. It's a totally different vibe. Like Los Cabos, you can get some party, but it's more relaxation, laid back, just as beautiful. I favor Cabo over Cancun because I'm not really with all of the animals that I see in Cancun. They're like Riviera Maya, you get those raccoon monkeys. I'm good. Alligators and all of that. I'm good. You don't see any of that in Los Cabos. So I favor Los Cabos. I think my best 5-star resort so far has been there, LeBlanc in Los Cabos. Just a very relaxing vacation, very beautiful. You had a spa, and it's just somewhere that you can really wind down. If you wanted something a little more party, you have Punta Cana in the DR. Or if you want something, a little more laid back, but still in Dominican Republic, you can do Cap Cana, which is a gated community right outside of Punta Cana. Beautiful beaches there. And then, of course, there's always Jamaica. Very beautiful. I don't care how many times I go back, there's something new to see. It's just, I love the culture there. It's very rich culture. I just love the culture there. But then if you want to expand a little bit, I mean, you have all of these other islands. You have Curacao, you have Barbados. I did go to Colombia, which was beautiful as well. I was in Cartagena. So that was a different type of vacation because it was more touristy, as far as like old museums and Catholic churches, things like that, really historic places. So it was a different vacation for me, but if that's what you're into, great place to go. You have Antigua and Barbuda. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. It's just where you want to go, how many planes you're willing to take. And then
right?
you have, your long haul trips. You have Morocco, you have Italy, you have Spain. You were just in Paris. So places like that, Kenya. What else? What else am I thinking? What's the other place in Egypt? Egypt. A lot of people frequent there a lot. Tanzania. A lot of people want to go there. So it really just depends on what you want. But whatever you want, we can get you there.
And she handles every detail. I'm going to tell you, even her swag bags had a laundry bag. Now, as a stylist and a travel expert, that nothing is more precious than that laundry bag for your dirty clothes to keep them away from your clean clothes in your suitcases. I mean, every detail we had in our little gift bags, like our sunscreen and things um, that all the little things that you need that you might have forgotten or you didn't get a chance to pack. It was just everything was so detailed, and I really appreciated it. The resort was beautiful. Everything was so organized. I'm telling you guys, you want Younique Travel Services. I'm a retired flight attendant of 31 years, and I have traveled all over, but I will tell you this, it's nice to have that concierge service. When you're retired, you want to be pampered. I
Yes,
enjoy being pampered,
yes.
and I definitely was pampered, and it was just a wonderful experience in Jamaica. And I'm looking forward to more trips. I'm already
Awesome.
thinking about where I'm going. I'm so ready.
I know that's right. I know that's right. I stay ready.
Oh my goodness. And you do, because you actually travel to locations. So,
Yes.
and you have videos of the locations so people can really see what they're getting in real life, not just the studio created videos that the hotels and resorts give you, but um, but they get to see the real deal with you.
Yes, because with technology today, you can show people anything. But if I'm actually there and I can film it for you and I can show you that I'm there. I remember during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't traveling. Most people weren't traveling. And then people were seeing that I was traveling, and it was like, oh, it's kind of safe. And I'm like, yeah, I got the resort basically to myself. I feel like, it's all mine. They waiting on me in this foot. And I did more traveling during the pandemic, and that actually encouraged people to travel, and
Mhm.
even some agents who weren't traveling, when they saw my videos, they was like, let me take a look at this. And then air then was dirt cheap, it ain't now, but but then it was dirt cheap. So it was just a great time. But for me, it's the experience, not only for my clients, but for myself, for my children, for the rest of my friends, my family. And those experiences, those memories last a lifetime. So I mean, you can give somebody a gift, and that's great, but you can give them an experience, and they're
Right.
gonna remember that forever. So I love the travel. I like learning the different cultures. I had the opportunity, so I normally don't venture off, unless it's like an approved excursion. Like, I've vetted these people. I know their reputation. I usually don't just go off like into the city or anything. But I was on an agent's trip, and it was 12 of us and our host, and he was willing to go. We were in Los Cabos, and he was willing to take us downtown or whatever. And so we went downtown and we ate. It was great. It was great. We got to see people singing and dancing. And we just got to be around the people a little bit. We got some authentic Mexican food. It was really, really good. And that's something that I would have never done on my own. But it was great. It was great. So and I would caution people. I do want to throw this out there, because I had somebody who said it on a post the other day. They had posted they wanted to go somewhere, but everywhere they wanted to go, it's on a do not travel list, right?
Mhm.
So what I would say to you is, one, you have to use wisdom, right?
Mhm.
But then we live in America. So if somebody was to rate America, what rating would we be? Do not travel. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so let me
that's
put
so
that
true.
out there. And then, those ratings are not for like the resort areas where you would be.
Mhm.
Those are for those inner city places, or remote places that you're not going anyway. But again, use wisdom just like you would use here, when traveling. But I honestly feel safer in other countries than I do here.
I will say, when I was in Paris, and it was late, it was cold, raining, we're just kind of running around. But I was like, I might get robbed, but I'll survive it. You know what I mean? It's we have a whole different thing here in the States that we have
Yeah,
to worry about, because
we do.
we have a lot of other more dangerous variables going on
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. Um, when it comes to like, the State Department, they do issue their warnings, and you should read those before you go, and
Absolutely.
take precaution. And like you recommend that if you're going to go into the city and off the resorts, to make sure that you go as a group and you are being escorted by a professional that's also been vetted, correct?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so I work with, a lot from different countries, but then you can look at reviews on your own. Google, is great. Look up reviews, recent reviews. You don't want to go to their website to find reviews because they're going to post the good ones. But
Right.
if you just Google, you can find out a lot of information, and you can see like who's reputable, who's not. Call and talk to them, see if a lot of them have WhatsApp so you don't incur the international charges. But fill them out, see what they're talking about, and then compare, always, call more than one.
Now, what if you are a senior and you're traveling, or if you're traveling with your elderly parents? Um, they want to do a little sightseeing. How do you go about getting things like wheelchairs, or do hotels or resorts have those things available? And are they
Mhm.
handicapped accessible? A lot of them.
A lot of them are most of them are handicap accessible, but that's something that you want to discuss up front, whether if you're doing the booking on your own, you want to reach out to the resort, or if you're doing it with an agent, you want to make sure that you discuss that, let them know that information so that they can reach out for you. They can find out, if they have handicap accessible rooms, and then they can make sure that you are marked for one of those. Also, if they have wheelchair services, if they don't, a lot of times they'll have somebody that they recommend where we can get you one. And most of those companies will do a delivery service. They'll drop off and pick up for you. So it's
Oh,
already waiting
wow.
for you when you get there. I remember I actually had some issue going on, and I needed a scooter. This was a couple years. This is when I first started, actually, in 2019, and I needed a scooter, so I was able to call. I found a company to work with, and they delivered my scooter, and they picked it up, and it was great. And it wasn't great for my family because they kept saying I had it on the rabbit setting. I had it on turtle. I really had it on turtle, but they were it was around Disney, so they were trying to keep up with me in Disney. So if anybody's ever visited Disney, like all of them hills, and trying to, you're in the heat, you need some water, so they're trying to keep up with me. I had the scooter, but they got a lot of favor because of it, because we got on the buses first, regardless of how long the line was. We got to the front of the line with the rides. If we had to go upstairs or something, we got to get the elevator, so it worked out. It worked out.
And that also works for the when you're traveling on the going through the airport.
Yes.
I know I told Dad, I'm like, listen, it is the airport's big. I can do it. I can do it. Because it's old Marine and ego. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, get in that wheelchair.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
gonna get in that wheelchair, and they do. You're all the way up front. You
Yeah.
get the security. It takes a lot of stress. You're the first to board,
Yeah.
and um, those things are helpful. But it's great. That's a huge tip,
Mm-hmm.
because when you want to take your loved ones with you on vacation, to know that you can get a wheelchair or a scooter delivered to your hotel
Yeah.
is huge. That takes a
Absolutely.
lot of stress off of you.
Absolutely. Even the cruise lines, you can get those services for the cruise lines as well. So it's
See,
important that you communicate that up front.
see, I love it. I love it. That's definitely helpful, because many of us are, when you're over 40, you're in that kind of, that you're in that sandwich group where you have small kids, and then you have elderly family members who are living together.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to do a family trip,
Mm-hmm.
you want everybody handled. And speaking of kids, what about babysitting services? And is it, with everything going on, how do you trust? How do parents like kind of get over that anxiety of like, we
Mm-hmm.
really want to go out, we need a babysitting service?
Yeah. So I think that's just a personal preference. As to your level of comfortability. I personally, if I don't know you, I might even know you, and I'm not leaving my kids with you. But that was just me. They're older now, so they could, they're old enough to speak for themselves and all of that. But when they were smaller, I want to leave my kids with nobody outside of my mom and my grandmama. But they do have, when you get to some of these resorts, they do have babysitting services, and they'll take them, some as young as 6 weeks, which is
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
Right. But it just depends on what resort. Some, the minimum age might be 2. Some might say, you have to stay with them unless they're potty trained, then you can leave them. But they have all kinds of activities for these kids throughout the day. And I've seen some amazing kids activity center. And they don't just keep them inside. They take them outside. Sometimes they take them in, the little splash park, something like that. They're doing arts, they're doing crafts, they're jumping in the foam. They're doing a cooking class. I mean, they have all types of things. So it really is just your level of comfortability. What I would say is, if you think that that's something that you might want to do, I would go and maybe hang around for a little bit and see how you feel, or maybe even pop in once or twice, maybe 3 times, and see how you feel about the environment, and then make your decision from there whether or not that's something that you want to explore. Because sometimes you take a vacation with the kids, you might want some alone time, you might want to have a little date or something like that. So I get it, but it really just depends on what your preference is. You want to be comfortable, no matter what you decide.
Now, when you're booking trips, is there are there any like tips or tricks that you know of, like what are the special days to book a trip? Like, what are the best times to where you get the best deals? I've heard
So
Tuesday, I've heard the weekends. There's so many different days. Which
mhm.
do you recommend?
So it used to be Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays. However, right now it's unpredictable because these airlines are a little crazy, or a lot crazy. I mean, they've become so unpredictable. It's like you can't even suggest anymore.
Oh,
It's like, do you
wow.
want me to book it today or not? So now the great thing about my services is I keep checking the air. So if your air goes down, I can do a one-time change, for the
Oh,
difference in air.
yeah.
But again, I had to keep checking the air. So I usually do it maybe like once a week, but I try to do it on different days, just to see if that air is going down, because I would love to tell my client, hey, I'm going to give you some money back.
Now let's talk a little bit about the airport lounges. I know you set us up with a lounge service, so
Mhm.
we were comfortable as we were waiting for our luggage when we were in Jamaica. What would you suggest as far as would you recommend those, or are they worth
So
the
I
price?
think it depends. I think again, everybody is different. So I'll take the example that you use. I booked you at Club Mobe. That was their for Jamaica. That was their VIP lounge. So you have expedited services. So if I had somebody who maybe was just impatient and didn't want to wait, I would definitely book them with that service. Or somebody who had, maybe elderly parents with them, you don't want them waiting in that line. So yes, go ahead and spring for the expedited services. You wait in a comfortable lounge and you get a bite to eat. But then if your resort is only going to be 15 minutes away, that might not be as big of a deal, to have a bite to eat then. But if you're where we were, it was 90 minutes away, so that was good to, be able to sit and have a bite to eat before getting on the bus and have a long ride after a long plane ride. It's nice to stretch your legs, if you have a long layover, they have a shower, they even have a little spa in there if you wanted to get a massage. But you can eat as much food as you want. They have drinks as well. So it's just a nice, comfortable place. And then coming back, you get the speed entry through the line again. Because when you're international, the other countries, they don't honor, all of the TSA pre-checks and all of that. Most of them don't. So it's nice. It was nice to be expedited through, the security line, with that VIP service, and then just sit in the lounge, and they let when it's time to board, so when to head to your gate. But it was just comfortable. It was a lot more comfortable than just sitting at the gate.
I will say it was definitely worth it, because you're already, the whole travel experience anyway, especially when you go to vacation spots, there's like so much luggage, there's so much stuff. And many of the passengers are people who, just go on vacation. They don't necessarily travel all the time, and there's kids. And so you kind of need that time to woosah
Yes.
and not have to really worry about that,
Yes.
which is awesome. We certainly enjoyed that. I mean, Nicole, I cannot say enough about how detailed and how wonderful you created, such a nice experience and especially for large groups.
Thank
You
you.
really want to have somebody who's really organized, and ready to go, um, for everything. So I definitely enjoyed my time. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more traveling because I was one of those people, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh no, I'm not going anywhere. Oh my gosh, no, no, no.
Hmm.
But once I got there, I was like, well, think about it. It's COVID. What are you doing when you're on a resort? That's the perfect place to go. You're outside the whole time. You're out on the beach. You're out outside the whole time.
Yes.
And it just made perfect sense,
Yes.
to go. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was awesome. Now, I also, of course, I'm going to draw you questions. So the whole thing with like, let's talk about as far as taking food internationally. What are your tips and recommendations and things to look out for? Because people like to pack their snacks and everything on vacation. So how do we navigate that?
So snacks are usually not a problem. It's usually more of a problem bringing stuff back into the country that becomes a problem. And you have to declare it. So as long as you declare it and they okay it, you're fine.
Yeah.
You can always Google as well. And you can find out things that you absolutely cannot bring back. But if you're just leaving here, usually you're okay with food, just not drinks, so because that won't get past security, you'll have to throw it out. But then once you're past security, then you can buy, something in the airport, or on a plane. But food usually isn't a problem going out. It's more of coming in.
Yeah, yeah, I've been stopped for like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot the hotel, maybe they have a fruit basket and I forgot that I had fruit in my suitcase. That can hold you up, especially once you get to the States and
Yep.
you have to make that connection. You want to make sure you don't have that fruit in there or the occasional corkscrew because you have mine in your room.
Yes, because
I
you got to put that
Oh,
bag back through the
oh my
security
gosh.
belt.
I've
Yep.
had those in there and I was stopped and she was like, okay, I'm like, how many of those little Marriott corkscrews of plastics? So you can't have those things in your bag. So definitely do a good sweep to make sure that you don't have any of that stuff in your bag to slow you down because once you get to the States, it is a free for all crazy. You're trying to get through, make your connecting flight, check your
Yes.
bags
Yes.
and all of that.
Yes.
How do you rate, like I'm telling people pack everything just so you know that you have it, certain things. How do you rate the airlines as far as your checked luggage and getting your luggage to some of these resorts, especially ones that are an hour and a half away if they lose your bag? How do you feel like the airlines are doing as far as that for
So I honestly have not had any issues, not personally or any of my clients.
great?
Um, so it's been great. However, I do hear stories, so I would say, one, make sure that you arrive early, because that'll lessen the chance of your luggage being left or getting lost. So make sure that you're arriving within the recommended time. International is 3 hours before, and then domestic flights is 2 hours before. So make sure you're arriving in plenty enough time so that your bag can reach where it needs to reach to on time, and not in the last few, when maybe it'll get on and maybe it won't. So that would at least help. There's things that happen. No airline is perfect, so unfortunately it does happen. The best thing I can tell you to do is make sure that you get that travel insurance, because in travel insurance is something that a lot of people never even heard of, until the pandemic. And then it became
Really?
so important, right? It became so important because a lot of people were losing their money on the vacations, because they didn't have insurance on the trip, and then they didn't want to go.
Right.
So definitely make sure you look into travel insurance. I think that is so important. So this way, should you have the unfortunate situation where your baggage is lost and you do have to buy items, that's something that you could be reimbursed for under the terms of policy.
Wow. And how much is that usually on a trip? Like if you're going for a week, and how much do they charge you per person, or do they charge you the insurance over the whole trip under the one reservation?
So it depends. Sometimes it's, if you book directly with the hotel, it's usually just the reservation. If I'm booking a package, it depends. I can give you like a pre-departure protection, which is just going to cover you if you need to cancel up until the time of trip, or I can give you a full policy, and that's only like $65. But I can give you, and that's per person. But I can give you a full policy, but that's also, it's based on your age and the price of the package. So it goes up. So, it could be like 150 for someone. It could be, maybe 200, 300 for somebody else if they're older, because as you get up in age, it does go up. So I guess they figured, it's more of a risk, but it covers, not only, baggage loss. It also includes medical coverage, because a lot of people say, oh, I have medical coverage. Yes, but what are the limits of that policy? So this gives you some extra coverage for that as well. It's trip interruption. If, your trip should get interrupted for any reason, if you should have to leave early for any reason, when you have to, revise an itinerary, a plane itinerary, things like that. If you have to stay a couple extra days, all of these things. And you want to make sure that you look at the policy, and that you see what's covered. So the policies I sell, they have 10 days to review the policy. And after that, it's going to be non-refundable. So that's why I tell everybody, make sure you review that policy and see what's covered. And then of course, trip cancellation as well.
See, I think it's so worth it. If you had a package and it's like $65, that's a lot better than even losing one night in your hotel room, because a hotel could be a couple $100 and you'll get reimbursed for that $65. You're already ahead of the game,
Right.
because anything could happen, especially with climate change.
Anything.
Anything and everything can happen. So you
Mhm.
want to be prepared to make
Yes.
sure. I think that's wonderful. And then you take care of all that too. I will say that trying to do it on your own, you can.
Okay.
But if you want to not have to spend your time in the airport trying to rearrange your hotel and trying to do all of this, that, and the other, especially if you're somebody who's a business person and you're working.
Yes.
You have your own business and you have to work too and deal with your clients or customers or whatever. And then now you've got to deal with, you got the kids, a family, or maybe going with you on your trip.
Right.
You're trying to do all of that. It's nice to have someone to call, say, hey, this is going on. Or because you're concierge, you'll say, okay, I've got a client. This is happening. This is happening. I'm getting an alert that this is happening. So you're there to take care of that for them right away. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a client, their connection was running late, and they it was possible they were going to miss their connecting flight back to the States. But by the time they called me back to tell me they were okay, they were going to make it, I had already had somewhere that I was going to put them for the night, someplace for them to eat locally, all of that, because I just kind of feel like, how would I want somebody to treat me? I could absolutely do it myself, but I came to this person, so why did I come to this person? So apparently that person's services, I think, are valuable. That's why I came to them, so I try to give that extra because I realize that people can do it on their own.
And you also know your travel insurance packages. So so if someone said this is all happening, you're like, okay, I've got you rebooked. You've got this new hotel. You have okay, you'll get meal vouchers when you get there. Here's a transportation to get to this new hotel. I remember when my parents were traveling years ago, and they were in Jamaica, and there was like the hurricanes and all this was coming through. They were immediately because they had the insurance, the Ritz-Carlton was like, hey, come on back. We got you covered. So they took care of them because of the travel insurance and that extra protection.
Yes. Very important. Very important.
So worth it because everybody's scrambling. When those flights are delayed or canceled due to weather, everybody's scrambling because you guys, the airlines, if it's weather related, the airlines do not take care of that. That is beyond their control. They don't take care of it. But if you have insurance, the insurance policy that you've invested in will take care of those things for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So keep yourself calm. Just stay calm. Stay calm and call Nicole. Travel
Yes,
services.
I got you. I might not be so calm, but as long as you're calm, it's fine.
That's right. You're absorbing all of the crazy that's going through our minds when we're like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yes.
So it's nice to have that person there to take care of you. So you guys, Nicole is going to drop all of her information in the comments after the show so you can get in contact with her because you want to, I'm sure you guys are booking your trips or thinking about your trips. So you want to contact her and she will definitely help you out and get you all set up with all different types of packages anywhere you want to go. I think you were planning a trip to Dubai and
yes,
wherever you want to go, wherever on this planet you want to go.
Yes.
And now when she's booking things to outer space, we'll let you know. Back on the show, and she can say, we have tours to Pluto. And but right now, anywhere on the planet, she can get you there and get you there where you feel safe and cared for.
Absolutely.
Now, you guys know where you can find me, Yo Taylor at thestyletable.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can contact me and, check me out. This show that streams on Facebook, at the Style Table Facebook, but also on YouTube. You guys, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. And you can see Nicole and many other fabulous women on my channel and where they talk about their business. I mean, we didn't talk about style this time, but you know what? I love talking about travel. I remember talking to flight attendant. My God, I love travel.
I'll have to come back then.
We'll talk just about travel style. We'll do a whole thing about travel style. But right now, I'm ready to go on vacation and put on my little. It's cold and rainy out, but I'll just pretend like I'm going someplace warm, right?
Yes.
All right, you guys. See you next Monday on My Style Mondays, every Monday at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.